It is the day before the Jubilee, which means 70 years on the throne. Here in London, I'm on the Mall, which is the road leading up to Buckingham Palace, and as you can see, the tarmac is even red, which is intended to look like a red carpet. And here, the Union flags have been hung from all of the lampposts. Preparations are beginning to take place for the festivities the next few days, and it looks like I can see people are even camping to make sure they get a front row seat, so when the action does happen, they're first in line. So we're going to try and see if we can talk to them and find out why they're here. The first question has to be why. Why make the trip? Why make such an effort to camp and make sure you've got a good seat?
Just love the royals, love everything about it, love the fact that the Queen's giving everything to the country, and it's just, I think, our way of giving a little bit back to show your support.
Have you always loved the royals? Do you remember childhood? You were always a monarchist?
To see the gold carriage, so that's going to hopefully come true this weekend. Yeah.
So what do you feel she means to you? Because a lot of people don't really understand why English people and British people get so excited about the royal family. What is it, do you think?
I don't think no other country has got that
Nobody
history.
can do it
No
like
one
we
can
they? It's all the pomp
Yeah.
and ceremony and just, yeah, nobody can. I think we outshine everybody with the traditions and the history, and yeah. I like the fact that she's still, you know, there's a lot of trouble and strife in the world at the moment, but you still got to remember that she's a mum and a gran, you know.
Do you feel you're ready for the sad day when she passes away?
Oh, I don't want to think about it, but we have talked about it.
We have talked
haven't we,
about
about
it, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be a big moment for the country?
Massive moment, yeah.
Massive loss.
Yeah.
And will you be back here for whatever funeral there is?
Most definitely,
Yeah.
most definitely.
I love the Queen. I love the monarchy. I love the history of it all. My sister and I came for William and Catherine's wedding 11 years ago. And last summer, when they were speaking of the 70th anniversary, I said, if COVID dies down, we will go. And so we are here.
So what is it about the British monarchy in particular, or the Queen, that sort of interests you?
I became interested when Charles and Diana married. I was a young girl, about the same age as Diana at the time. And I was just intrigued with the historical pomp and circumstance that occurred in that moment. And I've been hooked ever since.
Do you wish that America had its own royal family?
We don't have the official royal family, but we have various and sundry other celebrities that fall similarly in that category. I do not follow anyone but the Queen and the royal family.
Do you feel quite excited about the presidential family in the US? Would you attend big parades or anything about the president?
That's interesting, and the answer is no, I would not.
Why do you think that is? Because that's the head of state. There's quite a lot of pomp. You get big motorcades and all sorts.
Part of it is that the presidential power changes, and so you get 8 years of a president, and sometimes in that 8 years you may not appreciate the person in power, and so it kind of fluctuates as a result of that. Some I may appreciate more than others, so I would be more inclined to attend certain things for certain presidents.
Would you give us a hint of which one you would appreciate more than
Shall not.
You mentioned that you first became interested around the Diana period. Were you more Team Diana or Team Charles back then?
In the beginning, it was Team Charles and Diana, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time progressed and you began to hear rumblings of difficulties, of course I was Team Diana.
But you've forgiven Charles over the years?
I think it's just a sad situation, is what I think.
She does an awful lot for this country. People don't realise all the charities she's done. We wouldn't have these green parks, we wouldn't have nothing. We wouldn't have all this history we've got. It's all down to the royal family. They've been with us over nearly 2,000 years. We wouldn't have any of this. They're part of the nation, and they leave it to us. And then, of course, the next one that comes is fabulous. It's red and white and blues in my blood. The crown's in my blood.
Do you have any sense of what she's like as a person, do you think? Or is she a bit of an enigma?
she's got a great sense of humour, I know that. And another thing I've noticed, because I met the Queen twice, she goes out of her way. I met her in 2004 when she opened the fountain for Diana, Prince of Wales, and I was dressed up as a king, and I gave her roses. I said to Her Majesty, this one's for you, this one's for William, this one's for Harry, this one's for Charles, and I was short of roses. And she laughed, smiled. She saw the funny side, and she went through the names. So I know she's got a great sense of humour, and I know she goes out of her way. And also, I met her on her 90th birthday at Windsor Castle, and I presented her with flowers, and I did it this way, and I said, very happy birthday, Your Majesty, on your 90th birthday. We are ever so proud of you. God bless you, and God save the Queen. And she's holding the flowers at one end, and I was holding the other end, and she's slightly tagging at them, nice way, and I let them go elegantly. And she smiled and gave a little thank you. So treasures moments with Her Majesty the Queen, and there's no one like her. The Queen is unique, and it's the Queen's day, nobody else's day. It's the Queen's platinum, no one else.
So you say there's no one like her. Obviously, at some point in the future, it's going to hand over to Charles. Do you think you'll be there for Charles in the same way?
Well, I will be, because my Queen will always be my favourite.
Oh, the Queen means a great deal to me. I've admired her since I was a child, and she's always been there throughout my life. I've seen her in good times and bad. You know, when the country's gone through good times and bad, she's always been there.
So do you feel she's like a sort of constant, a reassurance?
Yes, she is. She's a reassurance to many. And I mean, just recently with the COVID-19, which hopefully we're coming out at the end of, and that speech meant a lot to the people of this country when we're going through that difficult time, because it was horrendous for every one of us. And she suffered from it herself, as did William and Charles. And it, you know, she has just been a constant. Diana was really the one that caught my eye when she first came on the scene. I just knew there was something special about her, and that's how we all met. We all met really through Diana, because we go to Kensington Palace on our birthday and anniversary every year, and we're just familiar faces. We just formed a little friendship group, and in 2019 Prince William actually came out and thanked her for what we were doing, because he took notice, because we'd been going there for the 25 years, you know, and he just wanted to come out and say thank you for remembering his mother.
So obviously things ended sadly with Diana, and a lot of people were angry with Charles and were angry with the Queen even about that period. Have you forgiven the rest of the royal family for that?
I was at the time, but now I think it was, we were being selfish. We were thinking of ourselves, and she was trying to protect William and Harry back up in Balmoral, as was Charles. And looking back on it, I do think it was more for us rather than them. We were actually being selfish.
Came all the way over from the States.
So tell us why. Why did you make the trip?
Oh, I wanted to be here for the Jubilee. I mean, the Queen, she's a remarkable woman, and she, you know, she woke up one morning and realized that her destiny was to be the monarch of this country. And she's done it well, and she's done it for 70 years. There's been 61 monarchs altogether and only 8 women, and I think she'll go down as one of the best.
She's the original and the best.
She is the original. I don't know if she's the original. There was another Elizabeth before her, but she's definitely the best.
Do you think there's like almost a bit of magic about the
Oh,
royal?
It's definitely magical. It definitely is magical. I mean, look at, you know, 4 years ago when Meghan Markle married Prince Harry, and you know, years ago there was a picture of her in front of Buckingham Palace, you know, just sitting there as a teenager, and 20 years later she's marrying a prince. How much more magical can you get?
I got to ask, what's your opinion of her and Harry now that they've pretty much left the royal family behind?
I think it's sad. I think it's sad that he's not here to help his father and his brother, and in the, you know, final years of his grandmother's life, that he's not around. But I think for his mental state, I think he was really damaged when his mother passed away, and I think he just wanted to get away from it all. She has been, you know, on the throne for 70 years. She's met 13 presidents. I cannot imagine any one of those presidents being in power for 70 years. It just wouldn't have happened. You wouldn't have had the respect, you wouldn't have had the love, the loyalty, the compassion. I mean, there's just no way the American public would have ever put up with that. And I think just this is something special over here.
The great in Great Britain is the royal family. You take away the royal family, we're just Britain. There's nothing else that's unique about us. There's nothing else to be so proud of. They work so hard. You know, people should read what they do in their lives. It's not cushy, it's not easy, they're not rich, they're not lazy. They work for us every day. They work for us. And through COVID, members of the family were out volunteering, like the Queen did in the war. She trained as an ATS service person. She was driving vehicles, servicing vehicles. She can service a Land Rover. How many monarchs can say that? But that's what they're like, and people, before they criticise, should read about their lives.
Who's your favourite of all the royals, would you say?
You allowed a favourite. Okay, the Queen.
And after the Queen?
Harry.
Oh, that's interesting, because Harry's quite a controversial one at the moment, because he's sort of absconded over to the US.
He's not absconded, he's looking after his mental health, and for that I'm very proud of him. I think he's a role model. I think he's a role model for men who have mental health issues and are struggling, and thank God that he's found a way to put his own mental health first.
People are often talking about maybe it would be more logical to have a republic where you elect a president. How different do you think this country would be if we were a republic?
I would want to leave. It would break my heart, because I look at other countries where there are republics and the change every 4 years, every 8 years, there's no consistency, there's nothing to make it solid, to make it strong in hard times. It's easy, isn't it, in good times, but it's when things are tough that you need consistency and something solid to rely on.
So I've got to ask about a sad potential event in the future, which is that the Queen won't last forever. Do you think we're ready as a country for that moment, and what do you think it will mean?
I think when the Queen has time to rest, when she passes, we'll be here to say goodbye. Sorry, it will be hard, but she has got an amazing family. Charles is so prepared. He has been trained for this his whole life. His father, his mother, his grandmother, who he's very close to. He will step into this role and do an amazing job.
Do you come back for the funeral, do you think?
Absolutely. The only thing that would stop me being at the funeral is my funeral.
It is fun, there's no question of it. And you meet different people that you've never met before. I met quite a few people last night, and it's brilliant. And we should all be happy. And you know, there's so many miserable things in the world, and we don't want to have a dictator to be the head of our state. Our Queen does jolly well.
I think without a royal family we'd lose a lot, but I think we've got a great future in Charles and William and George. We've got a great future, and the people that want us to be a republic, they might be loud, but I don't think they're a majority. I think we're definitely a majority. We might be quiet, but I think we're a majority.
Because I feel the poor lady, she sees all the bad publicity. Well, maybe she doesn't, but I expect she does. And it's not very nice. I would hate it in my family with bad publicity. So I think she does really well. She can't, you know, I can burst into tears, but it's not easy for her to show her feelings. She's got to be, you know, just the Queen.
So if you were able to talk to her tomorrow over the next few days, what would you say?
I would just like to sit down and talk about her dogs. As an animal lover, I would like to know, because she's an animal fan, isn't she? She loves her horses and her dogs, and the thought of her sort of trotting around the palace with all the dogs at her feet just makes me smile.
What about you? What would you ask the Queen?
I'd ask her for a tip for the Epsom Derby.
Enjoy your special day, and thank you for everything you do.
I would just thank her so much for her loyalty, her compassion, and for bringing the monarchy into the modern age. And, you know, cheers and happy 70th, and here's to 70 more.
Walking back through St James's Park away from Buckingham Palace, it's easy to have a bit of a chuckle at the people we've met. They made this huge effort, they're pitching tents, all for what? to catch a glimpse of a royal, to catch a glimpse of a carriage? Are they just another set of celebrity fans or people treating it like a soap opera? And yet, there's something a little bit more meaningful going on here, which is that for many people, the existence of the monarchy provides a real sense of security. And it makes the United Kingdom fundamentally different to republics like the United States, because the royals are up there and they're kind of always there. And politicians, they come, they go, they wear suits, they don't get to wear gold brocade and fancy clothes. They're not actually the state, they're just essentially middle managers. And the presence of the royal family gives a continuity and a stability which republics just don't have.